What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bringing incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is a multi-talented success story, as you can see. He is a seven-figure business owner, pro strongest man, IFBB pro bodybuilder, pro wrestler, and father of three. Those I know from my limited experience how some of those things are very hard to come by as a former competitor myself. What came first for you?
Well, I guess, in terms of my athletics, first I was a pro strongman. Then I went to pro wrestling. And then at 42, that's when I actually made the switch to pro bodybuilding. So you being someone that understands bodybuilding, I turned professional in just 2 contests, which puts me in a school of 5 people. There's only 5 of us that have ever gone from never competing to a pro stage. So my third ever bodybuilding competition was an IFBB pro contest where I actually placed on the podium. So it was a pretty exciting journey there for sure.
And I know how coveted those IFBB pro cards are and very hard to get for a lot of people.
Oh yeah. People spend their whole lives trying to get them. I got it in first contest till I was on the pro stage was about 7 months. So I took a lot of heat. I actually took a lot of heat for that. You know,
I bet, because people probably thought you cheated or someone. And it's a political game. I mean, it really depends on where you compete at. I hear Philadelphia and in Wisconsin are probably the fairest shows that you could compete at.
Well, you know, it wasn't for me. The heat was just straight jealousy. It wasn't like nobody was saying you cheated. They were just like, you're son of a bitch. I've been doing this for 10 years and I haven't done that.
Yeah.
Just straight. And I appreciate the straight up honesty like that. I mean, hell, it's when it comes down to it, this is not Little League. Not everybody gets to play.
Right. And genetics plays a big part in it, and as well as supplements. I mean, my late husband was a big bodybuilder. He had friends that competed and they were big strength guys too.
I had none of those. I started off, that's what's beautiful about your show, Label Free. I started off as a fat little boy, whopping learning disability. I was the little engine who could not. So, it was really, looking back, my learning disabilities were my biggest blessings because it helped me develop a work ethic that to me was normal, that to everybody else seemed nuts. So by the time, I got through school and I got through college, but it was because of my issues, I developed this wicked problem-solving ability. I could solve problems my way. Usually that meant doing a lot of hard work, but just the fact that I was what I was told I turned out nothing like it. And that's one of the things that the message I love to spread is if I can do it, any of you guys can do it. And that's what I do now as all of what I've done with athletics and business. Now I basically coach and mentor, and it's the best thing. In the most gratifying thing is when I teach someone to do something that they thought was literally a dream. And the funny thing, dream would be as a fat little boy, if Jesus had come off the cross and said, "Put your hand on the table. Here's a meat cleaver. Cut one of your fingers off, and you can be a pro bodybuilder," I would have gone thunk.
Yeah.
And then he'd have said, "Okay, you want to be a pro strongman? Give me another one." Thunk. I'd have had 3 fingers gone if I'd had the choice to trade them early on, but I found work ethic and did it anyway. So it's really what it comes down to is it really comes down to you believing. And that's the thing I love about my stories. I was just dumb enough to believe I could do it. And because I believed, I was able to achieve. And that's what I do with people. I help them. They don't believe all the time. So I have to help them get out of the gate, show them some success quickly. Then they start to believe. And once they start to believe, then I can start to maneuver their, I guess you'd say, their focus, their mental structures, their daily habits. The next thing you know, people that, wanted to do something that they thought would never happen, we've completely changed their lives. And again, if I can do it, all of you can do it.
Well, absolutely. And I think that you didn't have those like roadblocks, those in your mind, whereas a lot of people do, right? So what kind of learning disabilities did you have? Do you mind sharing that with us?
No, I listen, I will expose everything because the more that you see where I started. So I basically, I couldn't read worth a damn. I still have trouble reading. I mean, I could read something aloud. I just have a hard time knowing what I read.
Okay.
So perfect example, if today I got a letter in the mail that was really important, I would read it, but then I would take it to my wife and I'd ask her to read it to me so I can make sure I didn't miss something.
Okay.
That's part of it.
Well, like dyslexia?
Yeah. Well, that's going to now we'll go into it. So
okay. Okay.
Even today when I'm reading that letter, so it might read, you saw, right? And I see you was. The first and last letters will flip around and it does it a lot.
Yeah. So
dyslexia, I mean, and this is all self-diagnosed because when I was a kid, there was no diagnosis for this.
Right.
You know, they literally just they just kept moving me down. And then pretty soon I ended up in a class, it's called the resource room. To all of the other student body, it was, forgive me for saying this word because it's not politically correct, but the rest of the students in elementary school called it the retard room because there was actually some kids that were truly that challenged in that room. Right. I was just on the other side of the room, but dyslexia for sure, OCD, which turned out to be another one of my biggest blessings because repeating something,
right?
I mean, you know, weightlifting, all we do is repeat you.
Yep.
So repeating something feels really good to me.
Yeah.
So and then obviously ADD, attention deficit disorder. Yeah. Really, really difficult for me to focus on one thing because I get focused here, all of a sudden these different thoughts and things are just coming piling in my mind.
Yeah.
And so these were the things that I had to negotiate as a youngster. You know, I'm trying to read something, you know, wasn't happening.
Not all hopped up on pharmaceuticals trying to fix you.
They didn't even have that back then. Right. You know, I mean, my mom just said, okay, we got a problem here. Let's get the TV out of the house. We're getting the cookies out. She dealt with it the way that should have been dealt with.
Right.
Which I think, by lucky star, she's kind of my hero in this whole thing. She sat by my side. But when it comes down to it, you know, when I look back, the fact that I had a hard time reading and I had to work so much harder than everybody else, thank you. I think every bit of that. The fact that I had this loop where I could it felt comfortable for me to loop. And I turned that into success. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I had to learn to focus on something when it wasn't easy. Thank you. These are all the things that made me who I am. It's just point blank, that simple. That's another message that I have for people is, you know, the things that happen to you, they're actually, life is happening for you, not to you.
Yeah.
So stop thinking that you're a victim. These things that are happening to you think are victimizing you are actually opportunities. You just got to look a little bit deeper into them. You know, fear and things that scare you, it appears to be a mile wide, but it's a half an inch deep. You're not drowning in that fear. Just start moving across it. Yeah. You know, it's a mental position. Once you break free from the labels, you know, people in our whole society, they get titled something, they get labeled something,
and they just hold on to that,
and they live within it. And here's the thing: that's their story. They've either a person's got a story of why they don't have what they want, or they got a story of why they have what they have.
Yeah, exactly.
Why they have their success.
I like that.
So the question is, are you going to take that label, and are you going to basically own it, or are you going to throw it away?
Yeah. What if you? So I actually have a couple questions. So if you had access, your mother had access to some of the pharmaceuticals that they give kids nowadays, which is ridiculous, for ADHD, you know, dyslexia, or what was the other one that you said? OCD.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have turned out the same as you have now?
Oh, hell no. Because those are Band-Aids over a problem. I had to actually fix the problem. Right. And I shouldn't say fix, excuse me. I am still the same guy. I'm still
probably discipline the problem.
Yeah. Well, what I did is I learned to manage. And when you learn to manage a problem, you know, I don't want these problems to go away because they made me who I am. I learned to manage them, and I've managed them into strong suits of my character. So just like anything else, a medication that's designed to cover up a problem is not helping you.
Right.
It's just prolonging the issue. So, yeah, thank goodness I didn't, you know, I'm 52. So.
Looking good for 52.
Back in those days, they didn't have this stuff like you said.
Yeah.
But I'm very certain that my mother would have seen past that, and she did the right things, getting rid of sugar and taking TV away, and sitting next to me when I was sitting there struggling, trying to read something is probably what was the most helpful thing. Is I felt alone everywhere.
Yeah.
When I was at home trying, I was the kid, most kids get home on Friday afternoon, they're out to play. I get home on Friday afternoon, I started my homework because it was going to take me days to get done. So, but that's the stuff. That was the juice for me. That's what I needed to become who I am today.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't trade a single thing that happened to me. And that's the message you got for all you guys, is all of that stuff. Thank those things that whooped you in the ass. Thank those things that kicked you in the nuts, because all those challenges, I make the joke, something kicks you in the nuts, you're on the floor, you're on your hands and knees, you're at a vantage point you didn't have when you're on your feet. Okay, I'm supposed to see something down here. What am I supposed to see? That happened on purpose. And it's really, when you look at it that way, you don't have problems. You have opportunities. You don't have problems. You have challenges. And when you look at your life as problems, look at problems versus you look at your life as opportunities, it's a different place. Yeah. 100% different place.
For sure.
And I'm here to tell you, I had to learn the difficult way because of my challenges. But now the people that don't have all my challenges, and I help them flip the script in their minds.
Yeah.
This is a much easier road to get on. And once you get on this road, it gets easier and easier. The first day is always the hardest.
Yeah. Okay, I have a couple of questions. Have you worked with someone that has ADHD, dyslexia, and OCD?
Oh, yeah.
When you started working with them, were they on medication or no?
I've had both, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 100%.
So I'm curious how the one with medication turned out. Did you get them off medication, or did they stay on it?
Yeah, but in the end, and funny enough, I actually get people off because a lot of times they're on depression medicine also.
Yeah.
Which is so goofy. And I get people, because my coaching, my mentoring is everything from exercise, nutrition, mental strategies, the whole kit and caboodle. So I can help people get rid of blood pressure medicine. I can help people get a depression medicine. There's some things that they just prescribe because they want to prescribe.
It's a big pharma. It's the big pharma pharma. Like, let's put them on medication. We can put on more medication, put on more medication. Mm-hmm. Keeping you alive with pills.
Yeah. And when really what it comes down to with whatever the case is, meds, no meds, it's just restructuring how a person sees their canvas.
Yeah.
And, people wake up. That's a perfect example. I wake up every morning. I lived that first chunk of my life with just tons of anxiety and fear. And I wake up every morning and I have an alarm. So I have an alarm that wakes me up.
Yeah.
I have an alarm that goes off 1 minute later that reminds me, you don't have to do that again. Because I wake up in that same state that I did when I was 15. I did that for so long.
Oh, now? Even now?
Oh, yeah. My brain is trained because there's so many years of waking up that it's like a deep down subconscious behavior pattern. I know it's there, so I catch it. I live in that world for 1 minute a day. Oh. Sometimes I catch it before. To be totally honest, first alarm goes off, I'm up. I'm usually taking a leak, going to the bathroom, when that second alarm goes off. And many times I'll actually give myself an alarm, but just in case I don't, bam, that other one goes off. And I start working my mental strategies to put me in the place where I see the world the way I know it should be, so I can have a great day. When you start stacking up great days, you stack up great weeks, you stack up great weeks, you stack up great months to years. Next thing you know, you pretty much have got what you want. And life is this really, really good, fun, fulfilling place.
Yeah.
And all you did was, you changed a mental position and you changed a handful of daily rhythms. And this is the outcome.
Yeah. So do you believe in discipline with your clients or people that you're coaching, or do you believe more in creating habits?
Well, there's a mixture there, because ultimately there is some discipline to get out of the gate. There is discipline to do the things that you don't want to do to create some habits. Mm-hmm. Once those habits are in place, but there's lots of techniques that we use to make those habits catch on quickly. And then when they catch on, you don't need the discipline anymore. Like I habit stack a lot.
Right.
Just about everybody, just about everybody brushes their teeth in the morning.
Yeah.
So we're going to take something you need to do, and we're going to put it right before or right after brushing your teeth, because you're going to do that every morning. And then pretty soon that's automatic. Then we take another one. We take another one. And then people get so caught up in goals. This is my goal. Goal. Which, that's great. Yeah. Goal is just the next resting point before you go on to the next one. So what people need to understand is you reach goals by having a standard. When you set a standard and you live by a standard, your own personal standard, you crush goals.
Yeah.
Again, reaching a goal, all that is a quick deep breath, a quick pat on the back before you pick the next one and go on. Yeah. And it feels good because you've got a standard, how you live your life that allows you to get there. So, that's the thing. People tend to think it's so much more difficult than it is because they don't understand how it works. I guess the simplest way is I'm a purveyor of information. People look at me and think, oh my God, you're going to bust my ass, put me in pain, do that. No. Because here's the thing. I said,
how cool you are. You look mean here.
Well, here's the thing. If you don't want to do something, you're not going to do it for the next 30 years. So I'm going to use whatever it is that you like, you enjoy, that you can manage for decades. Anybody can just put together some unrealistic, really difficult plan to get someone to make some progress, but it's not sustainable.
Right.
Sustainability is the key. We want to have life just get better and better and better. Right. And that's what it is. It's not just this hold your breath. And then when you're forced to take another breath, everything falls apart. Right. That's not the way it works. That's the way people think it is, though.
Yeah. Well, of course, because they look at you and it seems easy, but it's just over like for me, lifestyle. Like, you
100%.
I mean, I competed for 20 years. So my lifestyle is pretty much like ingrained in me from competing so much. Right. And so someone who's never done that before would have a harder time grasping like what that change in their whole belief system and the way that they, keep them, I don't know, their lifestyle choices, guys. So were you a coach during the time that you were competing, or did you from competing and being a pro wrestler and pro strongman got you to being a coach?
Well, it's kind of a great question. Is ultimately my system that I developed is really me solving my own problems, and then I showed that to other people. Now, granted, some people just need the help with the fitness portion. Other people need the help with the mental portion. Yeah. But ultimately, as I solved my own problems and I started to do really well because I clearly had a solution, people started asking me, friends, family, hey, can you show me? So I showed a few of them. Next thing you know, showed a few more. Boom. It's a 7-figure business, man.
What's the name of your system? Do you have any?
Jon Andersen Coaching is the name of my is the name of my coaching company. I have Jon Andersen Coaching. I have Jon Andersen Academy. Academy is where people that can't afford to work with me one-on-one. The academy is where they buy a course, where they're gonna get taught the same information, but they're not gonna have me one-on-one.
Sure.
But my system is actually, funny enough, it's called Deep Water.
Yeah, I like that.
Philosophy. Yeah, because deep water is the idea that you're committing to what you're doing. You're swimming as hard and fast as you can into the deep water with no regard for how you're going to get back. And it's not a reckless thought process. It's a thought process of committing to what you're doing because it's going to be okay. What you think, remember that fear, it's a mile wide and a half an inch deep. Right. Well, most people fear shit that's not even going to happen to them. So we commit all the way to whatever we do. And the whole thing is you're in deep water now. You're out there. You're in it now. This is where you want to be, because when you're in deep water and you're pushing the limits, now we're creating change. And we create change. This is where we get what we want.
I like it.
Yeah.
Can you share with us a success story of one of your clients, like maybe one of your most favorite or most extreme? I don't know.
Well, tell me what you want. You want to talk about weight loss? How's this? We'll categorize it. I have people come to me all the time as like a last ditch effort before they get a gastric bypass. For those of you who don't know, that's where they get their stomach sized down, stable, to put a sleeve on there so they can't eat much. But it's accompanied with depression, all sorts of stuff. And 90% of those people gain their weight back.
Right.
Yeah. So people come to me, they don't exercise, and they know they got to lose 100 pounds. And I've done this countless times. I can help that person drop that 100 pounds, and 100 pounds is not a joke. 100 pounds, they don't want to exercise, so I don't ask them to until they want to. And when they want to, I ask them to walk. That's all they're going to do. That's all they're going to do is walk. But they can drop that 100 pounds, and they never have to be hungry.
Right. Well, right. I know that.
Yeah, but most people, they think they're going to starve themselves to get what they want. So they're not going to be hungry. They're going to have more energy. They're going to have more focus. They're going to sleep better, and their health is going to start going in the right direction very quickly. So that would be like weight loss. You know, I've had countless people that were like, they had lost all hope with their health in general, blood pressure, diabetes. I reversed type 2s. I reverse type 2s all the time.
Amazing.
Yeah. Amazing. And straight up, and they're happy, they're healthy, they're not hungry. And exercise, like cardio, I don't even recommend that people do cardio unless they really love it. The only exercise that I recommend is something you enjoy. Because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it in 3 decades. And we're creating a path that you can manage decade after decade.
Yeah.
So I've gotten countless of my clients off depression medicine. A lot of these things kind of wind together. A lot of times they're diabetic, they're depressed. You know, it's all this.
It's like a domino effect. If you're not taking care of yourself, it's just like one thing after the other. And once you start getting yourself back in alignment with, you know, being a healthy individual, mind, body, soul.
Yep. And then the last one, I would say, this categorizes a ton of people, because I can say there's so many, as you know. Most people have a dream of seeing their abs. All I want to do is see my abs. It's the most surface thing that I do. But when I can help someone achieve a dream,
diet, by the way,
100%. I can't tell you how many people I've helped achieve a dream that was on a physical. That's the easy stuff. It's so easy.
That's awesome.
You know.
With that being said, Jon, where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more of working with you?
Well, I got tons of social media, but what I do is I work it like this. I make sure that I spend adequate time in my Instagram DM so that I can make sure that everyone gets a response quickly. You will never have to wait more than about 12 to 15 hours to get a response from me. On my Instagram, got to put a link in the show because my name is spelled goofy. Yeah. But just so you all know, my Instagram is the Jon Andersen, but my name is spelled different first and last. So it's Jon is Jon, and that Andersen is Andersen. Most are ON. So it's at Jon Andersen, but we'll put a link in the show for you. And I love to connect with people that want to make a change. So if you got a question for me, come on in. Let's talk.
Yeah, for sure. Well, clearly you guys, you can see what he looks like if you're watching. If you're not watching, go over to his Instagram, go check him out, or you can see him on this YouTube video. And I will definitely put that link in the show notes. So you go follow him, at least start following him. And then when you get up the nerve, shoot him a message. And if you want to make that change in your life. Jon, this is the part of the show where we like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
Well, I would say that when it comes right down to it, you have to realize that, and it goes right along with the title of your show, you know, with the labels, is you have to realize that you have more potential to do what you want than you know. And you have to, number one is just use myself as a perfect example. I was, as a youngster with all of my issues, I think my lucky stars, I was dumb enough, I was a little dense to believe. And because I believed, I could achieve. So if you could literally visualize what you want, you can do it. So remember, all the things in front of you that you think are going to stop you, they're illusions. Most of the things that we stress out about never even happen. They only happen in our minds. So don't let these things that are sitting in front of you stop you from taking the first step, because the first step is always the hardest. That's the piece right there. The first step is always the hardest. So whatever you're looking at that you think is going to stop you, remember, it's probably an illusion. Yeah. And the people that tell you can't, don't listen.
Nope.
They're just too chicken shit to put it on the line.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. On that note, Jon, thank you for sharing your story and really sharing that anything is possible no matter what the limitations that people, society, doctors put on you, that there's always other options to achieve greatness, no matter where you're at in your journey.
And whatever level your greatness is, it doesn't matter. Maybe for one individual, greatness is just seeing their abs. Maybe one individual greatness is just, getting off their butts and going to the gym. It doesn't matter. You can do it.
Amen to that. On that note, Jon, thank you so much for being an incredible guest today. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.